720p.
I changed the bitrate. Let's see if that fixes it. If that doesn't fix it, then I'll do that. I dropped the bitrate by 1,000, so it probably doesn't look as good now, but it still stays in the same resolution.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Hopefully.
Are we live right now?
We should be.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to be playing fine on my screen.
Woohoo!
I'll wait for the stupid Amazon Prime ad to finish.
Why are we getting ads on our stream? I thought that was what the subscription stuff was for.
You can subscribe.
And that gets rid of the advertisements?
Maybe, because I'm a subscriber and I don't see any ads. So Daniel, you know,
I'm cheap as hell.
you need to step it up a little.
Eh. I'd pay, but I don't want to.
I don't wanna.
Oh, Kid Cabbage says it looks great and it's so much smoother.
Woohoo!
All right.
Check out what I got, Steve. Oh, over there.
Is the skull in there? Is that what you're gonna show? Oh. Is that it?
That's the...
Ooh.
We have a Star Trek tree at my house, so we get all the Hallmark ornaments and put them up on the tree. It looks awesome, and they just put out the Discovery ornament, so it's gonna join the rest of them that we have.
I have all of them, up to I think the Borg cube.
I think we have the Borg
So-
cube, if I'm not mistaken.
So I've got the original Enterprise,
Do you- wait.
Shuttlecraft Galileo.
Do you have the first one, or the...
Yep.
The very first one?
Yep, the very first one.
Jeez, dude, that thing's expensive. You know that, right?
I got a really good deal on it. Oh yeah, I know. It's really rare. I got a really good deal on it though.
eBay?
Goodwill, I think.
That's the last place I would expect to find ornaments.
Yeah, I know. Well, so that was our tradition when I was growing up. Is like my dad would get the new Star Trek ornament every year from Hallmark.
Wow.
And then when I moved out, I wanted the whole set, and I managed to find pretty much all of them. All the way up to the Borg cube, because that's the one I remember the last one my dad got before I like moved out.
Oh.
So I've got that one, but my my Borg cube, the speaker blew out on it because it used to say all these, you know, Christmas things, but in the Borg voice.
In the Borg voice, nice.
And so I opened it up last year and I took a speaker out of a toy Mustang that I had in the garage and I replaced it and it works perfect now.
I love that redneck engineering.
Oh, it was great. I felt so good too, like, you know, going into the garage and fixing it.
There's a certain charm to that, isn't there?
Yeah, but my my Klingon bird of prey, that one is notoriously fragile, and one of the phaser or whatever it is, the
Disruptors.
the laser cannon. Yeah, the disruptors. That's
called
right.
disruptors.
Broke off. It's just been kind of a damaged bird of prey.
Oh. That's one of the best looking designs, I think, for a starship that I've seen. It's so neat looking.
I think they did a really great job of creating various designs for the races to make them all easily recognizable.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm not terribly thrilled about with Discovery, is that they kind of didn't do that with the Klingon ships, but I mean, you could easily hand wave that away with like, oh, well, it's, you know, the Empire's not unified yet, so they're not all going to make the same type of starship. That's always a possibility. But I hate having to do that, like hand wave away the stuff. I wish it was just explained correctly or something.
One thing you might be really interested to watch, you've watched Red Letter Media before, right?
Oh boy. Yes, I have.
I think we talked about this before. Well, there was a video that just came out recently because the main guy behind it all, Mike, he is like a huge Star Trek fan, and he's like, he knows everything about like every episode of every season. He's constantly referencing it. And what he did is he did a video about what he thinks the new Picard show should be about.
I did watch that, or at least most of it.
Well, I love that. I thought that was so well done, and the way he was describing it, and then using the footage from the movies and the shows and stuff, I was sitting there going, "Oh man, like, I hope this is exactly what it is," but it won't be.
It probably won't be, no, but
You know it won't.
that's okay. Honestly, I think it's probably for the better that it's not going to be exactly what everybody wants it to be, because there's really no way for it to be that, right? There's so many fans, and so many people have so many expectations, and it's kind of what it is going to be for us too, because we have a very large subset of fans who are, I guess the best way to describe is OGs, and they've been here playing this game about as long as I have, and
Yeah.
they're coming into this with one set of expectations, and we're coming into it with another, and inevitably one of us is going to be wrong, and someone's not going to be happy. But
I don't agree. Not everybody is going to be happy, but I don't think anyone is going to be disappointed either.
as long as we don't
There's
have to hear someone say, "Oh, they don't get the franchise, they don't know, they don't love it like we do," or something, then I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could say that at this point. Not if they've been following the development, because
Oh yeah.
we've been pouring our heart and souls into this, and everybody involved is a big fan. So
Oh yeah, that's
there's no way you could say that we didn't, or that we haven't been putting in as much as we possibly could.
which is like super rare to find people who get hired to do this kind of stuff who are actually fans of the work. I mean, like Star Trek actors, for example, don't generally watch the show. Like Brent Spiner is actually pretty famous for never having watched TNG, and he's kind of a douche about it, from what I've been told. So he's kind of like what's that guy's name? Harrison Ford when it comes to Star Wars. So like, which is funny because like I've met Brent Spiner before. He's a nice guy. We got our photo taken with him as a cast and crew kind of thing, and he seemed pretty nice, for what little we got to see of him. I mean, we even had Will Wheaton say, "Tell my wife to have a great weekend." That was pretty cool.
That's nice.
You want to feel old? I was reading on Reddit's Star Trek subreddit that Will Wheaton now is as old as Patrick Stewart was when TNG started filming.
No. I don't believe that.
He's 46 years old.
No way.
Mm-hmm. And keep in
Oh,
mind, you
man.
and I, we're in our 30s. We have like 1 foot in the grave, man.
I guess you're right.
Who say that?
I want to answer this question really quick. Sean wanted to know if I went to go see Transformers the movie tonight, and unfortunately I had to cancel. My wife is not feeling very well, so we decided to stay home. So I will have to wait another time to see Transformers the movie in theaters. But yeah, I'll find a way. She was suggesting that we just watch it at home, since I've got like 4 copies of it anyways, and maybe we'll do that.
Okay, so for those of you guys watching, I just got fed up with the auto exposure and just turned it off. It's driving me nuts. I can't even look around a corner without everything turning. Oh god, that's bright. It's like, it's so inconsistent on this map for some reason, because everything is black, like all the textures, and it's just going nuts. Because auto exposure is trying to act like a camera would, where it sees dark areas and tries to lighten them up. So now I need to compensate by using other lights that aren't going to blind me.
So Sinbad Steam, my scheduled streams have kind of gotten, they've kind of transitioned into team streams. So I really haven't been doing any of my own, and I think it'll probably be like that until we get into doing more character stuff, because I didn't want to distract anybody on our team from their current tasks by like finishing characters and stuff, whereas we're not implementing them right now. But hopefully my stuff will be picking up again soon. I'm not sure what we're gonna do tomorrow. I think based on
Is tomorrow
our plans and
Sorry, is tomorrow seriously Friday?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Why is time going by so fast? Sorry about cutting you
Because
off.
we're 1 foot in the grave, and that's just the reality of
Yeah.
it.
Oh, no.
My dad sent me a text yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, you should call your aunt on Sunday because they're having a birthday party for my grandpa in Massachusetts, which is on the other side of the country, and my grandfather is turning 87." And that was one of those moments where I was like, "Holy man, I'm getting old."
Yeah. That's no fun. Yeah, it was weird for me too. Like my mom didn't make it through the year, like in early January, or no, it was February when she passed on, and
I'm sorry, man.
that's okay. We've had a long and complicated history, and it was never a very good one. But that being said, I never really realized until she died, like how old she really was when she had me. Like, she was something along the lines of, I think, in her 40s when I was born.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean that's for, like, I mean I had my daughter when I was 23, so she's already 11, and she's gonna be, by the time she graduates high school, I'm still gonna be in my early 40s, which is awesome because she's not gonna see me as like an old decrepit husk when I get old.
Yeah.
Which is what I want. I want my kids to remember me as, you know, who I am now, not a husk, essentially. That's my biggest fear in life. I don't want to be a husk. I've seen it happen to so many people where they just let themselves go and they don't put any effort into their body at all, and then they just kind of deteriorate, and then they got to be put into a home, and it's like, I don't want to be like that. It's one of the reasons why I ride my bike so much. It's like I want to be able to take care of myself into my, you know, late years.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, I need to go because I need to go and see my dietitian in the morning.
Oh, you scared Daniel.
Yep, I'm now all suddenly health conscious. Gotta go, guys. See you later.
Have a good one, Daniel.
See you later, buddy. So, I haven't consulted with Rob yet, Steve, but I'm really thinking that this obsidian slab texture makes a very compelling environment. I don't think he's going to complain, but we'll definitely run it by him.
Yeah, if that's executive, I mean, I think that looks pretty good.
There was, from what I could tell, just way too much emphasis in this map of having like engineering textures all over the place. Like, because if you look in the original, all these panels, those are all engineering textures, and this is that weird saran wrap texture that's used in like the freezers. As soon as the stream shows, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, though, you know, it looks like they were trying to repurpose it to make it look kind of pillowy and kind of cushiony.
Yeah.
Which is how it was interpreted when we did the Unity demo. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're kind of making a mental map or a mental note of what these areas look like originally versus kind of how you've interpreted them, it'll be just a good idea, just so that when we do go back and we're creating the final art for these, we kind of know what it looked like originally.
Yeah. This is mostly for the remastering that we're kind of doing for these old maps. Just bringing them up to spec and making them look like they make sense within the world that's been created for them. I've mentioned it many times on stream, but I'm amazed at how well these textures hold up in physically based rendering, which by all rights they shouldn't, because they're from 1994. But just a couple of trace overs and they look halfway decent. It's incredible. So.
Oh, that looks nice.
Which part are you seeing?
Oh, where you're doing the underside of that alcove.
That's actually something I'm matching with the original art. Just kind of makes sense a little bit.
So Sinbad Steam, you wanted to ask another question. Is NDS looking to acquire any more IPs for other PC games? The answer is yes.
Ooh.
Always looking to acquire more IPs.
You need to get hold of the Command and Conquer series and do right by it.
Oh man, it would be easier to just do a spiritual successor, I think.
No, because then it'll... No, I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm going to say bad things. I'm going to say really bad things.
How hard would it be, really, to just create another real-time strategy game with 3 or 2 opposing factions?
But it's not the same, man.
Yeah, I know, but you could make little callbacks. And yeah, Sinbad Steam, EA does own Command and Conquer. Oh yeah, I guess that's true. So we don't have the official Nightdive Studios account actually in the chat. So yeah, if you want to tag me, I'll be happy to read questions and stuff.
If you guys are wondering what I'm currently doing, I'm actually redoing some of these old textures real quick. Thankfully, this one's just a color change, so I can just come in here and then re-import it. Maybe it's already open. That's right, I did open it.
I do really like the original look of the executive level, because it definitely speaks to me that there was like a level of opulence that would be completely unnecessary on a spaceship. Like, could you imagine the costs of transporting marble into space?
Yeah, I mean, this is
that's
actually
ridiculous.
I think this is even worse than marble. This is actually obsidian. So I mean, obsidian itself is only found in like volcanic areas. So they took this stuff, they mined it, they polished it up, and then on top of that, they shipped this stuff all the way out here, which is basically just like a big fuck you to like nature and everything else. Like, yeah, we can do this. This is how awesome we are. It's it's amazing when you really think about it. It's very much like a statement on like wealth if you look into it enough. Now, what if we look into this a little bit more on another aspect? What if it's just like the IKEA version of of obsidian? Like it's just like regular like wood with like an obsidian texture on the front of it.
Oh yeah, just like a facade.
So it's like pretend obsidian, but this is Trioptimum. They can do what they want.
Thank you so much for the tip, Adrian Satir 94. They said, I don't often catch you guys live, but I have kept up with the VODs. Cheers to the remarkable progress you've made this month.
Glad to hear it, man.
Thank you.
We do this for you guys, so it's always great to hear you guys, being happy about it. That's pretty much what drives me to get this work done. It can be very, very long days doing this, as Daniel found out when he just tried to do that one area of engineering. I think he and I both share similar levels of appreciation for the work that one another has done. I mean, because I still have yet to understand how he was able to fight mental fatigue, making all of those like boxed out levels that I'm currently working on, and he probably has no idea how I'm able to continue doing this day in and day out. I gotta level with you, man. I really miss doing props, but I also like what I'm doing now, so I can't complain.
Oh, there'll be plenty of props to do,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I mean the work that you're doing now. I mean, you understand how important it is.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm basically setting the visual style of the game currently with all the stuff that I'm doing.
Yep. And I had a chance, I finally, because we moved over to our new SVN, I had the opportunity to get into Unreal today and load up the alpha. And it's awesome. I mean, most of the final art is not in, as you know.
Yep.
It's mostly the doors. There are some props that are final. But it feels so good. Like just the movement and the mechanics and everything are just very tight, and it looks just like the old game but slightly updated, and it's gonna provide such a great footprint for us to work in. So, and thanks Sean for the sub, really appreciate it.
I just if you guys wondered why my face looked disgusted there for a second, I opened up the other side of this hallway, and I look at this, and I'm like, what even is this? And then I realized that this is the first map where I haven't deleted Daniel's lights. And when I go around the corner and it's just like this monstrosity staring me in the face, I'm like, oh god, no. So, yeah. I need to rebuild lighting to fix that, or, yeah, there's not much I can do about that area right now, so I'm actually going to skip this area, because it's just going to constantly be a distraction from what I'm trying to do.
Adrian, were you the same Adrian that was in the Monolith stream earlier today? And then also, Mepian wants to know if we're working on our own IP right now in any capacity. And not really. We have some spirited conversations here and there about, you know, future projects and stuff, where we kind of talk about dream game kind of scenarios, and that's about as far as it goes. Also, Enchanterman, thank you so much for the sub. Really appreciate it.
I'm not going to deign to pretend that I know how subs work on Twitch, but from what I've gathered, it's a good idea and a good thing.
Well, it helps us out. It definitely just gives us more exposure, I guess, like within Twitch itself. And whenever, even if you follow the channel, you'll get an email notifying you whenever we go live. There won't be any ads if you subscribe. I'm not sure if that's still relevant, though, based on some of the stuff I've heard. But you also get, we've got one emote, one custom emote, which I will lovingly spam right now for subbing. And it's just kind of a nice bonus and a way to show thanks and appreciation for any channel that you subscribe to.
I keep hearing the name Enchantermon and seeing it everywhere, and I could swear that name is from throughtheLookingGlass.com.
It might be. Is that the case?
Pretty
Enchantermon?
sure it is.
TTLG.com?
TTLG, which I'm actually banned from, by the way.
You got banned?
Mm-hmm. Were you there for my my stream when I was basically just taking a big dump on Bioshock?
No.
That was why I got banned from TTLG. I think his name's Gingerbread Man. He told me to stop shitting up the Bioshock forum. That was literally the ban message. I don't hate Bioshock, but as I have mentioned at least once before, do you know that feeling you get when you know that someone could be so much more than they are, but then they choose to not be as good as they should be? That disappointment that you feel, and it's just like almost hatred, but it's not quite there. That's Bioshock for me. It's such a beautiful game, and it almost reaches greatness, but then the gameplay is just Xbox 360 ported to PC, and it feels like a middle finger in my face every time I load the game. Every single time I play it, I'm like, this could have been System Shock 2. This could have had awesome inventory management. This could have had better combat. This could have had all sorts of stuff, and it just didn't. And I'm just like, why? Why did we have to have this game in the age of 360 ports to PC?
I am going to disagree with you there. I know that there are some faults to it, but I personally love Bioshock.
Oh, it's a great game. I'm not saying it's not.
But mostly because of the art, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The art and the setting, and I mean the whole game. I feel like they basically had the best of the best from the Looking Glass team, working on something that unfortunately may be considered a product of its time, because I remember during that era, like, most of the games were developed with console in mind and then ported to PC later, which of course enraged
me.
All of us, because that's all that we had, or that's all that we wanted.
Yeah, I just want a damn PC game to be made for PCs. What's so hard about this?
Yeah, but I thought it was great. Unfortunately, I remember I got it for my birthday from Alex, and she got me the collector's edition, and all I had at the time was a gaming laptop to play it on, And unfortunately, the video card that came with my desktop replacement laptop, it wasn't fuck. Whoa, oh, excuse me. It wasn't the. It had an older version of. Shit. What was it called? Like Shader 2.5. It wasn't like 3.0 compliant. I forget. And
probably DirectX or something.
Pixel Shader.
Yes.
Pixel Shader 2.5. And you needed at least 3.0 to run the game, and I couldn't run the game.
Oh.
And on my laptop, and I was like, well, I just remember stewing for like 6 months until I could, afford a gaming PC and actually play it. So maybe it was the anticipation that kind of masked any kind of things that I saw as faults in the game itself. But I loved it.
So I'm gonna tell you straight up, I pirated System Shock 2, and I didn't.
How dare you, sir?
And I didn't pirate it because I didn't have a legitimate copy. I pirated it because I bought a legitimate copy in 1999 when the game was released, and then when I bought the game, my Hewlett-Packard computer system that I had purchased from Walmart on layaway because I worked at a bowling alley to save up enough money to buy a new computer, did not fucking work with the game. Pardon my language, but it still makes me angry thinking about it. And because this was in the age of IRQs and all that other dumb crap you had to do to get a computer to even run, much less synchronize video settings, I bought $50 of video game and got 0 of video game because it literally would not run. Like, it would get to the point where, like, you were at this the training center, you step to the grab shaft, and then but it was all like inverted colors and all crappy looking, and then it would just crash after that point. So I threw it in my desk, never played it, and then when I had a better machine, like in 2003, I'm like, you know what, I don't feel bad about this. I'm going to pirate it, because I already paid for this game. And
it was hard to find anyways at that point.
Yeah, it was actually, you were liable to be banned from TCLG, because there is, and I believe still, a sticky in the System Shock subforum called System Shock 2 is not abandonware. And it definitely is not now, considering, well, but more likely you own it. So, yeah, it's... Yeah. How does that feel, by the way, to own one of the best games ever made?
It's weird. It's it's a strange feeling, because I do, like, if you ever come to my house and you see the things that I'm interested in, if I like something, I like it to the point where I will go way out of my way to, like, collect anything that has to do with it. And so like, there's a number of things I'm, like, really passionate about, and in many different mediums, and I've got, like, very extensive collections of those things.
Interesting.
And like, System Shock is one of those things I'm really passionate about, I really care about. And when we ended up acquiring the IP, it was like, there's nothing that can top this in terms of, like, collecting.
It's the ultimate collectors.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of System Shock stuff that came out. Like, obviously, there was, like, the dev team shirts that originally came out.
I still don't have one.
No, well, I'm talking about the original.
Oh, okay.
The original System Shock 2 dev team shirts. Like, I've seen pictures of them. I've got, like, a sealed copy of the game. I've got a copy of the game that's, like, in a different language, but that's it. So it's always kind of surreal when thinking about owning the property, or at least, Nightdive being in control in the way that it is. But one of the things, one of my big goals, of course, when acquiring the property, was to allow the original creators to do the third one. And that took a lot of work. That took a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails to put this back into the hands of the people who created it. And I think that's a story that really hasn't been told before, which will, I can't really do it now, but the fact that Warren Spector and Paul Neurath and those guys are making the third game, I mean, it's something that real System Shock fans never would have dreamed of.
Oh yeah, I mean
even a couple of years ago, nobody thought that a third game was ever going to happen, let alone it being created by the original creators. So that was a big milestone for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. I recall from many despondent days of just thinking about what could have been, and then realizing I'm not gonna like doo-doo on them too much, but that EA was in control of it, and with System Shock kind of being like another one of my favorite franchises ever made, which is The Thing from 1982, and the prequel in 2011, which didn't make enough money to even cover production costs. There's never going to be another Thing movie, right? I mean, you can just brace yourself for that. It's just too niche of a film, and only people like you and me really appreciate it. It's kind of like that's what I was just prepared for. Like, there's never going to be another System Shock game. There's never going to be anything to do with Warren Spector ever again that involves this particular game, because nobody can really appreciate it for what it is. And lo and behold, 10 years later, here I am, and I'm like, oh, cool. And here I am.
Right in the midst of it.
Yeah, I'm like my boyhood dream of actually working on something I really wanted to do, and here I am. So it's like, I've mentioned it many times, but I feel very privileged to be where I'm at and doing what I'm doing, because a lot of people would kill for this, to work, not just maybe this game, but just in the general, working on a game that has influenced them as a person and kind of defined where they've gone and what they've done in their life. I mean, I was such a Shock fan that one of my college instructors, her name's Celeste Gamble, she works in the game industry out in SF, but she didn't at the time. She was, a game art teacher. I would just nonstop talk about this game and how much Bioshock sucked in comparison. And I'm sure everybody got sick of hearing it, because everyone's like, oh man, Bioshock, Andrew Ryan, Jack, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, it's good, but let me tell you about this thing that's way better. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that the thing that they love sucks, because it's all subjective personal opinion. You can't really tell me that what I like sucks because it's what I like, right?
You have to say though that I think a lot of people came to discover System Shock by way of Bioshock, and so for that reason you can't be totally against it,
Well, tell that to the Star Trek fans who hate the 2009 JJ film and everything else that he's made. He's like, oh, it's an abomination. I don't care that it's brought new fans in. It's garbage and I hate it. And it's like, okay, cool. You don't have to like it. You just have to deal with the fact that it exists, just like I deal with the fact that Bioshock exists.
All right, I'm gonna answer a couple of questions here. All right, Gort, this is from a little while ago. Gortes 1021. When you guys get to the final artwork, will it look more like the artwork that was done before the hiatus, or will it look more like the art that Cody Williams did? It is definitely going to be in the vein of the stuff that Cody Williams did. Very much true to the original, but given that nice level of detail and that quality and the polish that you've seen in the screenshots that we've shared in our Kickstarter updates.
Oh, and before you go too far, Enchantermon, if you want to know what my old username was, you're welcome to message me on Discord. I will not say it on air.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to reveal your TTLG username?
I do not. It is a part of me that I would like to leave behind forever. But not
and then everybody's admitting to pirating System Shock 2, and that's okay. I'll forgive it this one time. Let's call it a pardon. I'll pardon everybody in the stream right now for doing it. That's what everybody had to do.
There was no choice.
Before it was released on Steam, so.
Yeah, there was absolutely no choice.
If there wasn't an illegal way to get it, I wouldn't have tried to play it, when I wanted to, and that wouldn't have then turned into Nightdive.
So Steve, you see this hallway I'm in currently, the one that says "Die" with the dude's head sitting right there, and then
Yeah.
the little robots. Okay.
Hmm.
Do you see anything awry with this corridor other than the fact there's a dude's head with the word die there? Anything anything awry about
The
this?
slope is really strange.
But are there any lights in here?
Nope.
So
I don't see any.
why is there light in this room when there's no light to produce light?
It's painted into the texture.
No,
That's
no,
why.
it's literally okay, so ah good point. Okay, so we're just gonna go with the textures are emitting light now, so now they're the light bulbs. Fair enough.
I like the look of that though because it feels like movie theater lighting almost, where it's kind of
In pools?
it's like a spotlight that's just kind of shining up like the side of the wall.
Yeah.
Kind of looks cool.
One of the things, again, for those of you guys who are new to this, that I work on when I'm here is kind of bringing some kind of continuity to these levels, where if there's lights and no place for lights to be coming from, I actually put a place for that light to come from. So this part of the challenge is figuring out how to intelligently do this without just kind of ruining the original design.
Well, you could just throw point lights in there for now, because it's not that important. But I imagine that when we go back in, we will probably create like actual fixtures that'll sit and pop out from the wall to shine up it.
Like a sconce?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe.
Yeah, I could do that. Or...
Well, I mean, I would just stick the lights in there now just so that you can move on, and then we'll just figure it out when we get there.
But see, now you're just... I was going to make it look all cool, and now you're like, just move on. We don't have time for this.
Okay, fine, you do it your way. And
Oh. This is why I like working for this guy. For those of you guys who are listening, like, I've had bosses in the past that are like, yeah, it might take longer, and if it does, don't do it. Do it the short way. But I'm like, it'll look worse. I don't care. I'm not paying it to look good. I just want it to be done. So that's a breath of fresh air to actually be told, make this thing look good and do it the way that you're doing it because you know what you're doing, which is why I hired you.
yeah, that's about it.
I enjoy that. I really enjoy that freedom that comes with knowing that the guy that I work for has my back. So, a lot less stress. That's one thing my life needs less of, is stress.
Yeah, I could vouch for that.
You're always in like negotiations, aren't you?
Most of the time, it seems.
Jeez, I can share a little bit of that pain because at Quixel I do sales, and I've got a pretty strong sales background. And
that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, I can help you out if you ever want anybody to help you with selling stuff. But at the same time, it's like, oh, there's so many days where I just get so sick of hearing, that's too much money. I don't want to spend that much. Like, well, that's what it's worth. Well, yeah, well, that's not what I'm going to pay. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you then. It's very tough. Like, when I used to work at Radio Shack, right, this is where I got a lot of my sales background from, because you had to be a salesman to work there. You couldn't, like, just work there and just hope for the best. You had to sell people stuff when they came in the door, and it was always cell phones. They always wanted you to sell cell phones to people. In a time when everybody has a cell phone, they expect you to be able to just have every customer walk out with a phone. And regardless of how crazy that sounds, that was the expectation. So every day it would be like, how many cell phones did you sell today? And I'm like, well, none, because this guy came in for resistors and some batteries. And when I asked him about cell phones, he basically told me to fuck off. So what am I supposed to do? I can't sell something to somebody who doesn't want to purchase it.
I think that was like a similar thing with GameStop employees. They had to sell Game Informer subscriptions.
Oh,
which
no.
would honestly, it'd be a little easier to do than trying to sell a cell phone, but it's the same principle, right? It's like you're trying to get that that second sale or just that extra little bit.
Yeah.
And then your performance is based on that or whatever.
And that makes for a very stressful environment.
And I'm totally switching gears here, but in defense of Game Informer, the quality of that magazine is actually quite good. I
thought you were going to say in defense of GameStop, and I was just going to be like, hold on, buddy.
No, well...
There's some things you can say on the stream, and there's some things you can't.
Game Informer is is produced by GameStop, yes, but they hire really good journalists, and the magazine is very good quality. I can't speak to the review scores, I haven't really paid much attention to that, but the articles that they produce are very good. And
The
honestly,
best
I was
articles.
quite surprised. So I am a subscriber. I subscribe to both PC Gamer and Game Informer, and I think they're both excellent magazines.
Speaking of
For us
games,
old timers that like paper.
uh,
Yeah, look at the next thing Mephian says. Does anyone still read paper game magazines?
they died out in Russia.
I guess I'm the only one.
But speaking of games and stuff, so my instructor from the school I was at, she actually, when she found out that I worked on this, like, she was like, wow, your dream finally came true. So that was really cool to see that she remembered that. I mean, I guess it'd be kind of hard not to remember that because it's like all I ever fucking talked about. I really hit that game hard, man. It was always like, oh man, you guys are missing out so much. You got to play System Shock 2 in the first one. Even if it does look a little dated, it's still tons of fun, and no one ever would.
Yeah, I have to say, and it's hard for me to sound subjective, right? But when the source port came out, I played through it again, and it just was like, God damn, this game is so good. It's like you have to think a lot. You gotta use your brain. You gotta almost have your pad of paper there to like write down notes about where to go or what to do or the codes that you're hearing.
Yeah.
Or things to check out. You know, little hints that are dropped in the audio logs and stuff. And I honestly believe that, you know, the visuals and stuff, and obviously the interface was such a big turn off for so many people throughout the years.
Wait till you guys see the new interface we're doing.
That when this comes out, that people are gonna go, oh my god, like this was out all this time since '94. Like, how come nobody's made a game like this since then? I seriously believe that that's what the reaction is gonna be.
Yeah.
And I'll be very happy to take the credit.
I'm sure you will, like any good boss, right?
Yeah, but no, but it's like, well, you know, this was designed in '94 by a bunch of other guys, but still. I'll be right back.
All right.
I'll be right back. Seriously.
No, yeah. That's fine. I'm gonna count too. If it's more than 2 seconds, I'm gonna call you.
All right, it's gonna be a little bit longer than that.
Okay. In the meantime, guys, I'm glad you guys are here to sit and enjoy with us. I don't even know how to pronounce this name. Barath Rabin, I guess that's the way to say it. I have the same problem. I can rarely get anyone to play Shock 1, Fallout 1 or 2. I'm not even going to comment on this because I haven't even played anything else besides the Shock series that you've mentioned, unfortunately. I'm very picky about what I do and don't play. And with my limited time, I only play... Well, I tend to play a lot of the same stuff over and over. Yeah, so there is that. It's just such a weird texture. And just like money. That's okay. I'm going to make this look cool. Tear out this texture, this part. Tear out this part. And then paste it on the layer. And then grab this stuff and make it light up. Oh no, my camera fell down. Whoops. There we go. I've got it precariously positioned so it sits in a very certain spot. I don't think my wife wants to be on camera, so I'm trying to prevent it from showing her. Alright, so we turn that off. Yeah, one of these days maybe I'll play the first Fallout game, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. Check this out, though. I'm going to turn this into something neat. Come back into here. Re-import that texture. This actually all needs to be an ATM. Except the way Daniel did this, I need to go back and fix it. Just so I can turn that into a texture. What even is... Why is that even there? Daniel, what did you do? Oh, I see why he put that piece there. Alright. I promise this will look cool as soon as I'm done. Just give me a sec to kind of reposition this stuff real quick. Okay. And that needs to have... Oof, I'm not putting that ugly texture in that wall. That just is not happening. If you guys got your hopes up to see this right here, everywhere in the map, you are looking at the wrong stream. I'm not putting that in. It's the only texture I can think of in the original game that I absolutely hate. It's just so... It's the only texture that in this game that I just despise and will not put in this game if I can avoid it. Alright, how many of the ATMs are there? Okay, so there's... Why is that even there? It's a weapons rack. I'm going to just turn this all into ATMs, I think. Or something else. Or just make it so that it's a couple of obsidian slabs in between. Alright. Let's see here. Executive, ATM. Where you at? Where you at? There we are. Hold on one sec. I gotta go grab some light bulbs so we can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, Unreal doesn't normally have too many leaks in the map, but it does actually have that issue. Some of the emissive areas, like the radioactive zone in where the isotope is stored on research, that leaks into the other parts of the map. If I turn the emissiveness on for the magnetic containment fields in there, and it looks really bad. So we have yet to figure out a way around that, because it's all BSP based, which is currently what I'm working with. If it was static geometry, I don't think it would do that, but it does anyway. Hi, Steve.
Hey, I'm back.
It was more than 2 seconds. I know you clarified later on, but I want my money back. Speaking of money, I actually have to remove all these bits of text that he put in here for the ATMs.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah. All I can think of is that song.
Looks cool.
Good night, kiddo. You can give me a hug, you know. See you later.
So, yeah, Sinbad Steve, does your agreement with regard to SS3 preclude NDS from releasing additional products based upon SS1 and 2?
Wow, these guys are oddly specific, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do, we basically decided that we didn't want to flood the market with System Shock stuff, just so that there could be some breathing room between releases. That's why we've been primarily focused on creating the source port for System Shock, and making that a free update to the Enhanced Edition. We just want to make sure that as many people play the original game as possible before the remake comes out that we're doing. And then I guess just based upon the reception that gets, we'll either do the same thing to System Shock 2, or we'll just do something else. So I'm not really sure. And then anything outside of that is going to be a decision that's made between us and other side. So we'll see. Let
me just say I'm really happy that you're not going with the spam the hell out of it thing that a certain company with Mickey Mouse ears does with a certain space-based property. Because I'm so sick of hearing about it, I could scream.
Yeah, well, so with that being said, we'll cancel Diego, a System Shock story, coming to theaters this
Oh god,
December.
Dude, that made me physically cringe when I heard that. Oh god. If that actually happens, I will quit. I will be gone. I will never work for a company that does that.
You say that now.
No, I have principles. You will not turn me into that. I will not be put into the Star Wars conversion chamber. It is not happening. Okay, so I need to find a way to make this thing blink like it does in the original. I kind of like it scrolling up and down, but I think it looked kind of cool if I was to make it pulsate. What do you think, Steve?
I like it the way that it is now. That's really cool.
Yeah, that little shader that
it looks awesome, like reflected too on the floor. That's like, that's really nice.
Watch this. Watch this.
You would almost think that. It looks like the stream kind of slowed down there for a second. Uh-oh. Come back.
Hold on for the seizure. I'm fixing it.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was gonna say you would, based on how many ATM machines are there, you would almost think that there would be like a casino on that level. Oh God.
Yeah, the seizure is real.
Seizure warning.
Did you just call it an ATM machine?
That's what it looks like.
An ATM machine.
Well, okay, ATM.
There you go. ATM machine.
I hope you're happy.
I am very happy. I love nitpicking like that. Haven't you learned that about me yet?
Yeah, that's why I instantly corrected myself.
After somebody mentioned it. That's just how I am, man. I got it from my grandmother because she was like super nitpicky, and I realized quickly that nobody likes that. But if you make it kind of a fun, joking thing that you can do with people, they tend to take it a lot better. But yeah, my grandmother was super like hard on me in that case. She was always like, you got to use correct English at all times, and you can't, shorten anything that you write or type. And I have to say, like, there's a lot of things that I didn't like about her, but instilling that particular regard for how you sound to other people was probably one of the best lessons I've ever learned in my life. Especially on the internet, because you only have one chance to prove that you're not an idiot when you talk or type. And if you type and text speak all the time, it's very likely that people are not going to think of you in the best possible way that they could otherwise,
So Sean Gupta says, I'm sorry to change the subject, but
go ahead.
We're going to be making Hopper a System Shock story. That's great.
No. No. I don't have any say in this, but I'm saying no.
He also says that we should do like a Pixar style intro with the Hopper jumping on one of the letters.
Okay, that would be
I
funny.
like that. We should probably put that in as an Easter egg or something.
You should do it in the Simpsons way too, with what the hell was that episode? The Shinning.
Oh yeah.
You mean The Shining?
Yeah,
Hush, boy, you want to be sued? You just call me whenever you're having trouble with that shin of yours.
They want to know that if apologies if I pronounce it synthetic.
Huh?
Wants to know if we remake System Shock 2, will we remove the nah ending?
Please do that.
But we couldn't. It would be blasphemy. We couldn't change the ending of the game.
We can. Whether or not you choose to is another story.
Come on, everybody's gonna like totally expect it, and then if we change it, then I don't know. What does that say?
What does what say?
What does that say about us if we?
It says that we value
the ending to the game.
It says that we value storytelling over cheesy one-liners like Duke Nukem.
Yeah, they're telling me please don't. Okay, so I gotta go real quick. I'll be back again.
You're letting me control the narration here.
We never put the chickens away, so I gotta go herd the chickens.
You have chickens?
I have chickens.
I wasn't expecting to hear that.
Yep.
Okay, well you go have fun with your chickens.
Yep. They are. We got 4 of them. We got regular size Rudy, Leela, Black Phyllis, and Falco.
Wow. You're not gonna eat these chickens, are you?
No, but they haven't laid any eggs yet, so.
So
you never know.
The punishment for not laying eggs is death?
Is devourment.
I guess if they don't provide food, then you're gonna eat them.
I'll be back in a second.
Fair enough. Yeah, so you guys can already tell what my opinion is on the nah ending. To say that I don't like it is a little bit of an understatement. The game is amazing. You get to that point though, you sweat and you bleed and you think your way to the end, and you get that really cheesy, awful garbage of an ending, and it's like, why did they even do this? Why couldn't they have just made it somewhat serious to match the tone of the rest of the game? It would be like the hacker doing that too. Like, you know, you get to the end in cyberspace, and then Shoan's all like, why don't you just join me, human, and then we can rule together. And then you're like, nah, and then you shoot her. It just, no, it doesn't work like that. I know it's hilarious, but it's hilarious in the way that, like, Mystery Science Theater 3000 is hilarious, in the sense that it takes something that was intended to be serious and turns it into a joke. That's my thoughts on it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, how is this even a duct? What part of this particular texture reads to anybody as a duct? I don't get that. We'll go with it though. Is that really set up like that? Well, you know, all this time I played this game, I've never actually noticed that that doesn't actually connect to the ceiling. I thought it did. That's funny. I wonder why it's like that. Huh. You know, it'd be really cool too, if we were able to redo System Shock 2, would be to actually have an ending where you could join forces with her. Kind of like the proposed Illuminati ending for Deus Ex, where you were supposed to be able to choose to, not Illuminati, but rather the Bob Page ending, where you could choose to hang out with Bob Page and take the continent that he offered you. Sorry about spoilers, but, you know, it's a 20-some-odd, almost 20-year-old game at this point. If you don't know by now, well, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, let's see here. But yes, Enchantermon, if you haven't already sent me a message on Discord, please do. I'd like to chat with you. If not, just briefly. I guarantee you know who I am. Or at least you knew who I was there. It was very vocal. So. A little older and a little wiser now. A lot less likely to get banned for saying stupid stuff. But, yeah. Oh, let's see. Gotta go down here, and I'm not putting this up top there because that doesn't make any sense. There should be lights in this room, even though Steve says otherwise. There still needs to be lights in here. Guess we could use the engineering lights in here. Maybe. I don't know, maybe not. We'll have to see. Yeah, I think I'll use the engineering lights up here. At least it's going to fit with the aesthetic a little bit better than having nothing there at all. I gotta wrap up here in 15 minutes or so. I just realized I've been talking for over an hour. When Steve gets in here, it makes it a lot easier to sit here and work and focus on the work, because otherwise I have to run the chat if Carly's not around. I gotta figure out where that duct texture is. Where is that one hiding? Doesn't help that all these textures are basically just numbers. There we go. And this thing needs to be set up so that it can actually look like it did with the emissive lighting. So let's set that up. 1131 is the texture name. That is not a duct. I don't care what the texture says. There's no way in hell that's a duct. That is something else entirely. And this was purple, if I recall correctly. So I can then set this up to look correct. Cool. Okay. Almost done. So for those of you guys who are wondering, one of the things I talked about with Steve recently was redoing all these textures as kind of like a high def thing, where they would actually look less like an approximation of physically based rendering and more as an actual physically based material. Because what I'm doing right now is very much an approximation. All the way these things look is just kind of hacked in as hard as I can get it hacked in, just so it functions for this beta. But what you see may not actually end up being what you get. I have been toying with the idea of redoing all these textures by tracing over them in 2x resolution and bringing them into the new millennium with an actual properly calibrated, physically based material set for every single one of these textures. That's something like over 300 textures. It would be quite a bit of work, but fortunately, the tool I would use for it, I'm pretty much very fluent in it, so it would be a lot easier for me to do this, and it could just be part of the overall work that I'm going to do on this level and all the other levels. So we might end up getting an even better version of this towards the end, which would be really sweet. And the music stopped. Usually that means I'm going to stop, but I want to wait until Steve comes back. So, at the very least. And I need to get that duct working too. But I mean, just imagine how good this could look if it was the same exact textures, or at least the same texture style, traced over, blown up twice as big, because these are 128 by 128 textures, so you would end up getting 256 by 256 textures. Getting that with, what do you call it, with proper physically based textures would be amazing. It would be definitely one of my dreams, is to make this thing look as cool as possible. Hopefully Steve comes back.
I'm back.
You're back. That's good to hear. I wouldn't want you to disappear forever.
So the chickens, all right, it got dark and they went up into their coop by themselves.
Man, I thought chickens were dumb as hell, but apparently they're smart enough to go put themselves back where they belong. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was very surprising.
That's really cool. Oh, lovely. Unreal locked up. Hopefully it will unlock itself. Unless it's just waiting on me to import something. I don't think that it is. Uh-oh. Oh, I love and hate this engine. I was telling them about the idea that we had where we might end up actually further improving these textures to the point where they're full physically based renditions of the original art, as an idea that we might be toying with in the future. People seem to be interested in that, so honestly I'm just amazed that people even like what I'm doing to begin with. that these old textures are even getting that kind of response.
You're like Bob Vila, but for old video game textures.
This old game.
Yeah, that's right.
I was thinking about whether or not I should take that as an insult, because like I was thinking of Tim Taylor and how much he hated Bob Vila, but then I'm like, I'm not Tim Taylor. I can enjoy Bob Vila. That's how old we are.
We were doing the Tim Allen we were doing that today during the team stream or during the meeting.
Does it make you sad to realize a lot of people don't even know what that is?
Oh yeah. Well, you know, like you said, we're 1 foot in the grave, so.
I don't want to die. I want to be dumb and stupid forever. I want to. I wonder if they ever did that show in HD.
Home Improvement?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so.
That sucks. I was just mentioning that these textures are called ducts. This one that I have currently up on my screen. It does not look anything like a duct. I could think of many things that are duct-like, and this does not come to mind as one of them. There we go. What are you typing over there, boss?
Oh, we are going to be bringing in somebody that Matt and Justin and I went to school with to help on effects.
Who would that be?
I can't name them. It's a secret, top secret.
Is he already in our chat?
He is.
Does it start with an F?
Yes, but don't say anything.
Okay. I'm just going to say I actually know somebody with that name. They work with us at Quixel, so I was just like, when I saw that name pop up, I'm like, no way.
No, not the same guy, but actually I'm surprised because that name is, I've never seen that name before.
It's a Pakistani name.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, we're getting a little too specific here.
Is there why the secrecy? We're so open all the time.
Well, not with this. This has to be secret because he's a secret game dev.
Oh.
And yeah, we're just trying to see if there's something that he can do before, I guess, like end of the day tomorrow, or I don't know. We're getting him all set up with SVN and everything so that he can create some awesome effects for us. But we're just trying to figure out the best timing for that.
Oh, okay. But eventually we'll tell everybody. Someday. At some undetermined point in the future.
His name's John Peros.
Hey, Mr. Peros.
It's you.
It's me. I'm the secret man.
Secret man.
Steve said your audio's no good. Why don't you try effects?
I have yet to. You know what? I need to actually take that light out of this texture, because that looks so bad. We don't do that in PBR.
Yeah, but it's kind of a cool light.
Oh yeah. I'll actually put it back. I actually do that with spotlights and just put it exactly back, but it casts light like it's supposed to, rather than just being on the texture. But I need to physically remove that.
Yeah, that'll be a really good example of when the texture's redone, of having that actually, be a 3D object and pumping out dynamic light. It'd be really cool, or static light.
Yeah, the storage level is full of these little wall sconces that I've actually put in there, just to kind of breathe some light into it. It was one of the first things that I always wanted to do that when I looked at the original textures, because I just knew that this is not how they're supposed to look. But that was something I was able to do, which is awesome. I think Storage is one of the better looking maps, just with all those spotlights on the walls.
Hmm.
Also, like with anything that we do, I think as we work on this more and more, we get better at what we're doing. So the work that I've done on the older maps still looks good, but I think the newer stuff that I've done looks way better. Ugh.
Yeah, you know, I meant to bring this up. Not so much about the textures or anything like that, but I was playing through the alpha today, and just in medical, just to start. And we might need to light some of the areas a little bit brighter because it's super dark in some areas.
That is probably a good point, but it could also be accomplished by fudging with the exposure. So we may want to look into doing that too.
Okay. Yeah, there was just like there were some areas that I was in. I couldn't see anything, so we'll have to just up the exposure just a little bit in those areas.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a global thing I think we would need to do. Or we could just increase the lighting there too. There's a lot of different ways we could go about attacking that. I hate to break it to you, John, but you're coming in towards the end of the stream here. I'm getting super tired. And I think I'm going to head out here in a minute.
John, no!
That's all good. I was doing something else until 7, so I couldn't hop in earlier.
That's all right.
You planned that on purpose.
I did. I talked with other John before this, and he told me he was going to be ending.
How many Johns are there?
Just us.
Okay.
Just us.
One of the running jokes I used to have when I was in college with this guy who also had my name, and we would start and finish each other's Aqua Teen Hunger Force quotes. We just knew exactly what we were going to do and say. And it just got to the point where we just started saying "We are John," because like it was so obvious that one of us was going to make a quote and the other one could just finish it for him. And it was just one of the goofiest things I think I'd ever seen that we could pull that off so consistently. Steve and I had that going for one stream, just a little bit, but he doesn't share my first name, so it wouldn't work. And
all right, so we'll have to get really good at talking like each other then.
Yes.
Is what you're getting at.
You'll need to have a much crappier voice to sound like me. I don't know if you really want to do that.
Right. I'll start studying the VODs.
Get all nasally and sound like you're a scrub.
Oh.
I hate the way I sound. I always have and always will. But I think that's normal for most people. Like when you hear yourself on a microphone, especially one as tiny as the one that I've got clipped on my shirt, you just sound awful.
You sound great.
Yeah, what's with all this self-bullying here?
Yeah, man.
If I don't do it, who's gonna do it?
I guess when you put it like that.
You're just beating somebody else to it, and at least,
It's like when somebody like makes fun of you, it's like, I make fun of myself all the time. What are you gonna tell me that I haven't heard already? Yep.
Oh, Jungle Strike guy's here.
Jungle
Wild
Strike?
Arrows appears, aka the Donker Extraordinaire.
Donker?
I didn't know if you guys had like swapped out fan bases since last time I was here, or
Swapped it, yeah.
Yeah, like
Same old
those.
crew.
Oh, good.
Did you know that Jungle Strike was actually made by the EA office here in Orlando?
No?
Huh?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
they make like Madden games now, but EA Tiburon, back when they were still Tiburon Studios, made Jungle Strike back in the day. And they're in Maitland, which is not very far from where I live. So I just hope they never come beating on my door demanding that I give them the rights to System Shock back.
Yeah, that won't happen. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Unless they give you an offer that you just can't refuse.
Oof.
Which you would.
I don't want to be in that position.
I don't think anybody does. All right, I think I'm gonna call it here. I'm not awake enough to sit here and edit this texture to the level that it needs to be edited to remove all this lighting in it right now. But I made some pretty good progress in this stream. And before I go, I'm gonna take a little bit of a shot and attempt to what do you call it? Try to run the flight deck to see if hopefully nobody's destroyed my light maps that I put in there. That way you guys can see the final version. Just hoping. Yep, lighting needs to be rebuilt. I just did it, and it all got destroyed. So,
Womp womp.
yep, that sucks. It doesn't look awful or anything. Flight deck was definitely one of the more fun levels I was able to work on recently, especially with getting these animated landing strips in here. Those are super cool. And for those of you who are nerdy enough to remember the intro cutscene, these actually did animate in that. So getting it to match was really cool. Yeah, no, flight deck turned out really well. It's super dark in here too, and this place suffers from an issue with Unreal where you can only have a certain number of overlapping stationary lights. So because this entire hallway is flickering off and on like crazy, you're only allowed to have 4 overlapped stationary lights, so I had to do a lot of wizardry to get these lights to flicker on and off without resorting entirely to being dynamic lights, because then that would just run like crap. So getting them to this point was more annoying than it really needed to be, just because of the way Epic kind of programmed them. But in the end it looks good, so it works. But yeah, I would go through the rest of this, but there's not a whole lot you can see with all the light maps being destroyed. So you guys who are going to be in the Adventure Alpha will be able to see it when it's all finished. When are we pushing that again? Steve?
The Adventure Alpha?
Yeah, we're pushing that today, aren't we? Or tomorrow?
The Adventure Alpha to... Yes, the backers that we've been in contact with, hopefully early tomorrow morning. But there will be some expectations that will be set in an email that you'll receive. We didn't quite reach the goal that we had in mind, but with access to the alpha, it'll be constantly updated on Steam. So. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that they had it right before the weekend so that they can enjoy it and not have to worry about responsibilities.
Well, I mean, they're still going to have responsibilities. They got to worry about an NDA now.
Sure.
And that's a responsibility that everyone can understand and hopefully agree with and obey, because bad things happen when you don't obey your NDA. I would know. I've already been subject to C&D before. Those aren't fun. But we're so open about what we're doing. It's almost like bordering on the absurd with how much we talk about this game. Like nobody else, I think, in the history of game development has been as open with a game project as we have. Like at least at this level.
That may be the case.
Like nobody does this many streams. Nobody talks about it as much as we do, and for damn sure, nobody like just engages with their community like we do. It's just tooting our own horn, obviously, but I mean, I think it's deserved in this case. This is unprecedented level of engagement. Like this, you would never see this at a major studio. It's not the way things are done. But I gotta wrap it up. I gotta get going. I'm super tired. Like I said, I almost canceled tonight just because I wasn't feeling all that great, but I started feeling good enough to at least talk a little bit while I'm here, or a lot, depending on how much you think I talk. That being said, it's really cool to have you guys on. I think I'll be back before the month is over, although this may be my last stream for this month. Not that it really means much, because the next month I'll be back in like the beginning of it anyway. So, yeah. So that's pretty much it from me. You guys got anything you want to say?
Thanks again for watching. And I'm glad that John could join us, even though it was at the end.
The Adventures of John and John.
Thanks for everything.
Do you remember that show? Before I go, The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Now we gotta have the.
It's not strange.
God, that was such a good show.
Did it happily did ring?
Oh man,
To be honest, this is not the first or the second time I've heard Steve sing the theme song of Adventures of Pete and Pete. I don't know why it always comes up with you.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for bringing up Steve's favorite show.
Is that really your favorite show?
It's a great show.
It really
I wouldn't
is.
say it's my favorite, but okay. I'm gonna give away a game key to the first person who can name the name of Little Pete's tattoo.
I can name it, but I already have a game key.
Yeah, bet. You can't. I'm watching the chat. No using the internet. That is a cheat.
Don't use the computer that you have in front of you.
No.
You have to mail in your answers.
You have to watch every episode of Pete and Pete. Go.
Right now with a time machine.
Which they have in Pete and Pete.
Okay, before we go, hopefully somebody can respond before I hang up here.
The dong. That's not correct.
What was your favorite episode? Because mine definitely has to be the Halloweenies one.
Oh, my favorite one is with Orange Lazarus.
Oh yeah, that wasn't that like the drink that they always wanted to get, but it was so hard to get.
It was like a smoothie, yeah, and it also coincided with where Pete was like, he was like trash talking the other baseball team, and he would just say like the most bizarre mix of words.
Yeah, to get it behind under the skin.
Yeah, the other players would like have like a breakdown, and they would just start crying and they just run away.
I don't think anybody's gonna know, so I'll just go ahead and spoil it.
Oh, no. Somebody's gotta know. There's 36 people in here, and come on, somebody, okay. The ban is lifted on the internet. You can use the internet.
Are you sure it's not called the dong?
I'm positive. Because the tattoo is credited in the opening of the theme song.
Mm-hmm. That it is. I'm just gonna say it.
No, don't say it.
It does. It's not Plastic Corpse, but it does start with a P.
That's right. It does start with a P.
Plastic Corpse.
Well, I think they were looking at the corpse on screen, not making an educated guess.
Yeah, when I kind of get to the end, I just start rolling around in circles. This is exactly how
Oh, Petunia!
Thank you.
Enchantimon.
It was
Thank
Petunia.
you.
Type of flower.
All right, let me get a key. Wow.
What kind of key are you giving away here?
I'm gonna give them a copy of Forsaken.
Oh. What is that, like a $19.99 value?
That is a MSRP of $19.99.
I just guessed that out of thin air. I didn't even think it was going to be the correct price. Sweet.
It is the correct price.
It's like the magic number for selling games on Steam, I think. It's like, it's not too much to be unaffordable, and it's not too low to be considered trash. It's just like, it's like that sweet spot.
It's a good price for a game.
Yeah. Except, you know, this game is probably not going to be $19.99, but not with how much work we put into it.
Right. We're going to make the bold move of charging $79.99.
That would be incredible, because we would be like the only game that doesn't charge $59.99.
That's right, and we're going to be blamed with the downfall of the industry by setting that new standard that everyone is going to follow.
And then they're all the gamers are gonna point at us and they're gonna say, "Gamers, rise up."
I'm just kidding. It's not going to be that. It's going to be $89.99.
You're just digging your own grave here, man. All right.
Maybe a little bit.
Glad you guys.
I gotta figure out how to whisper, because the last time I did this, I sent the key out publicly and somebody else snagged it.
Oh, that's dirty.
Who remembers that?
I don't remember that. But I'm glad everybody showed up. It's really cool to have, you know, our guys in stream too, so it's not just me like kind of blabbering and trying to read text at the same time.
And I don't remember how to do this.
Oh, can I leave now, or do I have to have this actively running for you?
No,
to...
you have to wait.
Oh my
until
god!
I send this key.
Did you know?
Until I figure it out.
Did you know that Fortnite Season 6 dropped and I have people to kill? Did you know that?
We all have people to kill, John.
You notice he said John and not Jonathan, so I'm cool.
Jonathan.
Oh, damn it. Blew my cover.
I'm right-clicking on their name and I can't whisper. I think maybe because we're not friends.
Oh.
Ooh,
but we can be friends.
Just regular click his name and then hit whisper. Just give me the... I have a thing right here. If you want to just send it to me, I'll send it to him.
How are you doing it?
Because I'm like really dope.
Oh, you know why this isn't working? Is because I'm using the Twitch app.
Oh. That probably doesn't help.
Wow. Good job, Twitch.
Hey, we're partnering with them. Don't you badmouth them.
Okay, let me hop in here. Okay, hold on. Old man. 1 foot in the grave, using this new fangled streaming technology.
Call your son, have him fix your phone so you can send it.
Oh, God. Have you guys ever realized that we're probably going to be the first generation that doesn't have to call our kids to do tech support?
You say that, but where's technology going to be in 30 years that we don't understand?
Not going to be something I have to deal with. Technology's my job.
That's right. I'm looking forward to not knowing how to do anything.
Living in a home, crapping in a diaper.
See, now I can do it. Enchantermon, here is your key.
Cool.
And, you know what? Let's give away one more, just because I want to delay Jonathan as much as possible.
Oh, I'm just going to hang up.
Do another guessing game.
Okay, all right. Jonathan, you know what? Because I'm making you stay, you get to come up with the clue.
I hate you so much. It's unreal. Come up with a clue. To what question?
Come up with a clue.
Well, I need a question to come up with a clue for.
Okay. Well, why not have it be Star Trek related?
Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, man, Rick. I don't know.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
I'm being put on the spot here.
Have everyone write a fanfic.
Yeah, and it's got to be minimum 6 pages, no double spacing.
With one of us as the main character.
Yep.
One of us is the main character.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, this could go wrong in so many ways.
John, a Star Trek tale.
No. No, we've already established we're not doing that.
Holodeck.
And I believe we also established that whatever goes on there stays there.
Oh, on the holodeck?
Yes.
Oh, God. You could, I would watch a whole show dedicated to what Riker did on the holodeck.
I don't know how much of it would be PG rated. Before we go here, one thing you should do is check out Chief O'Brien at Work. It's a comic on Tumblr.
Oh, I think I've seen that before, but I will check it out again.
It's from the beginning is like a comic about crappy jobs and standing up all day and doing absolutely nothing and being dumped on for it nonstop. It's really sad and depressing. It's almost as bad as Garfield minus Garfield.
Oh my God, yeah, that is like legitimately depressing.
Yeah.
Seeing John Arbuckle just talk to himself.
Yes, it's on that level, if it helps. So, all right, was
John Gupta with the computer. Remove the plank.
Okay. Hey, here we go. One more key. Name the movie that came from, and it can't be Sean Gupta who says it, because I know which movie that comes from.
You were just immediately eliminating Sean Gupta from contention.
He already gets something awesome. He has access to the alpha.
Oh, okay, that's true.
But name the movie, the Star Trek movie, from where the phrase "computer remove the plank" comes from, and the immediate follow-up is retract plank, not remove.
Oh.
I'm watching chat. I want to see if someone figures this one out.
Oh, I know it, but I won't say it. Look at the Chanter mark.
Sinbad got it.
Oh, Sinbad got it. Nice.
This is actually my favorite movie. Not overall movie, but just favorite Star Trek movie.
Really? Generations was?
I love it. The score for that movie is one of the best movie scores ever made. Just that part where like Picard sees the family that he's never gonna ever have on the inside the Nexus, and then that and that chorus starts playing. It's so tear jerking. It's hard to stop that one. It's a very emotional piece, and just the overture that they use in the film is incredible. Like there's never been a film score quite like it. And if it helps, if you ever watched DS9, it is also scored by the same guy that did Generations, Dennis McCarthy. So it's got a very similar sound. So.
Okay, you know what? I've got the ultimate. If you can answer this one right off the bat, I don't know what I'll give you, but I'll give you something.
Okay.
This is just for Jonathan.
No, for me. Okay.
Yep. Okay, this is hardcore. What present does Picard's son get for Christmas in Star Trek Generations while Picard's in the Nexus?
I believe it's an Aliens fighter ship.
No, you got it! Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm a pretty big nerd.
Oh my god!
Do I get a pay raise?
Oh my god!
Do I? No, I don't. Do I?
I can't even believe that you got that.
Dude, you don't know how much I got bullied for loving this stupid show as a kid.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I need to go lie down, I think. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, no, I knew that because it popped up in the Memory Alpha Wikipedia entry at the bottom. It was like an Easter egg they tossed in.
Yep, there you go.
So that's how much I love this film, if that helps.
Okay.
Now, I really need to get going. I got people to kill.
For real. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, you guys are so awesome. Thanks for coming to the show and listening to us blab about stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with what you came here to watch. But that's okay, because we're all kind of like a big family here, so it's tons of fun to get to know us, and we get to know you guys. Again, Enchantermon, make sure you don't forget to message me. I will talk with you about that. That all being said, it is awesome to hang out with you guys, but I gotta go. Fortnite calls. I gotta kill some scrubs. It's just, it has to be done. I gotta do it to them.
Good night.
Good night, guys. See you later.